everyone, I'm Phil Rowley, and welcome to Colorado, Monument Lake, and Monument Lake Resort. The fish are coming up. They're not only taking food on the surface, but they're also just taking something subsurface, I believe small midges. We're here all week chasing stillwater trout, and as the week progresses,
hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, hey, 1.
We can also look forward to the Caveman Music Festival. I got one on the dry and one on the chironomid. So there's one. Number 2. You're gonna see some great fishing. Perhaps a little bit of dancing. Your new fly fisher adventure starts right now.
Ooh, that's a nice sized fish.
Absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, that's the kind of fish that makes stickers out of it.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Monument Lake Resort, Vair Watches, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited,
Today we're coming to you from Monument Lake Resort, located in southern Colorado, just north of New Mexico, approximately 1 hour west of the town of Trinidad. After arriving in Colorado Springs, we loaded our gear into the rental vehicle and headed south for the just under 2.5 hour drive to Monument Lake Resort. The final portion of our drive took us down the scenic Highway 12, better known as the Highway of Legends, a designated National Scenic Byway. The timing of our trip coincided with the Caveman Music Festival held each Labor Day weekend at the resort. I was looking forward to great fishing during the day, coupled with a chance to relax and enjoy some great music at night. For our first day on Monument Lake, we wanted to explore a relatively large shoreline shoal. Logan Connor, the marketing director of Monument Lake Resort, joins me today. He's been fishing his entire life and he knows the local waters around the lodge well. We had the opportunity to prospect both the shoal itself and the adjacent drop-off. And as the day warmed, we also had the chance for some dry fly action. Monument Lake was formed by the WPA, the Works Progress Administration, one of many 1930s New Deal relief and recovery programs intended to get people back to work. It was these workers that built the dam that created Monument Lake. If you drop into the Stonewall Cabins General Store and Restaurant, you'll see historical images depicting the construction of Monument Lake located along its walls. Monument Lake's name came from a rock formation that once stood in its center, 15 feet above the water. Today that monument is now submerged, but is still visible just below the surface. So it's day 1. We're starting out simple. You don't need to be complicated to fly fish lakes. We're going to do some walk and wade from around the shore. We got some very accessible areas. Going to start out with a floating line, indicator with a micro leech on the bottom and a chironomid pupa off a dropper. See how we do. If you are new to fly fishing lakes, figuring out where to go can be a huge barrier. Many fly fishers looking out upon the vast expanse of water are intimidated. Compared to rivers and streams, lakes, at first glance, don't seem easy to read. Look for trout-friendly water temperatures between 50 and 65 Fahrenheit. Target weedy areas. Weeds provide protection, a source of oxygen through photosynthesis, and is home to the majority of food items trout feed upon. Look for areas adjacent to deep water, such as points and drop-offs. Trout love to be near a deep water refuge in case they need to escape the shallows. Almost all the best stillwater fly fishing takes place in shallow water, less than 20 feet deep, areas common to the shoreline margins. You don't need a boat, float tube, or pontoon boat to be a successful stillwater fly fisher. If you can have safe, wadeable access, shorelines offer excellent stillwater opportunities. To start out, I'm using a floating line, strike indicator setup. I've got about 6 feet between my indicator and my bottom fly. I've got trees behind me here, so I can't use a traditional overhead cast, so I'm using a roll cast, using the benefits of the long rod to use a reach cast as well and to mend the line throughout the presentation. We've got wind drifting down here. Sometimes it's gusting. So the good thing about an indicator presentation is once you make that cast, single cast, your flies are in the water and working. You're not risking tangling up or having frustration from casting in wind. The indicator is great for that. One cast, it's out there, it's working. We're letting the wind sweep the flies down, again using the mend, the long rod. And then if we get a little bored or want to impart a little action, we can use a long, slow strip that rises the flies up in the water and allows them to settle. Or we can use a slow hand twist and just creep those flies back towards us until it's time to cast again. So the floating line, strike indicator setup coupled with a roll cast is great for fishing from shore, especially when you have cover behind you like this that prohibits you from doing a traditional overhead cast. When you fly fish in lakes, wind is your constant companion. It's actually a friend if you learn to use it correctly. We have light winds this morning. This is allowing us to cast upwind. Logan's using a dry. He's got a parachute Adams on. Hopefully that'll produce. We've got some fish rising in the shallows. I'm out a little further. I've got 2 small chironomids under an indicator about 4 feet down, and we're casting upwind because trout in lakes, they're river and stream fish at heart. They love current and they'll swim into that wind-induced current and feed. So we can cast up and just let the wind-induced chop drift those flies back towards us and just gather line with a slow hand twist to stay in touch and see if they'll eat one of Logan's dries or they'll eat one of my chironomids. So make the wind work for you. Light winds, cast upwind, just let them drift back towards you. This is a technique you can do not only from the shore as we are here today on Monument Lake, but you can also do it in your boat, float tube, or pontoon boat. There we go, fish on. Fish on.
Nice job,
Indicator
Phil.
just pulled under. Almost missed it. We got glare here, which makes it challenging. I think it ate my upper fly, the little chironomid. Bad little fish. I'm going to do a little line management here. Back up. We've got the net on shore. Logan's coming. What do we got? Looks like he ate the upper. Yep. Look at that. Nice little cut through. Couple. that.
Finally, jeez.
Well done, Logan. So you switched to a dry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we had a little bit of surface activity in here. There looks to be some ants on the water.
A couple of smaller looking mayflies.
Yeah.
Yep. Tapping to put on the old trusty P. Adams there.
Yeah, nothing. Parachute Adams. Whoop, let me get out of the way for you. We got a little wind coming in on us. Not too heavy that we can't cast into it, but these fish love to feed upwind, and we've been observing these fish rising, moving upwind, rising, rising. Logan did a great job and led them. Parachute Adams. He's got the benefit of the rewards. I guess if I was helpful, I could get the net. Yeah, there he is. Nice little rainbow. Oh, yeah. Come on back.
Dang rainbows
Here.
are always so feisty.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, perfect. Well done. Little Parachute Adams right in the... Flies out. There we go. Off he goes. He's happy. So one of the benefits of fishing lakes from shore is you can still use your dries and emergers. Fish are up on this nice flat, feeding. Logan did a great job reading the rises, putting that Parachute Adams right in their feeding lane, and catch the fish. Well done. I think I might change up to a dry if we see too much more of that.
Might not be a bad idea there, Phil.
Can't beat a take on the top.
Yes, sir.
Whenever we're fishing floating lines in lakes, quite often it's subsurface techniques, and we want to have our rod tip right at the surface, so if we sense or see a take, if we're using an indicator, we quickly raise the rod and set the hook. When you're fishing dries, that can work against you, because you need to allow the fish to come up to your fly, open its mouth, take it, allow the time for the fish to descend back down, and then set the hook. Now, of course, when you see that rise, you're a little trigger happy, because you've been setting the hook so quickly. But the best way, one of the ways I like to do, is I'll actually hold the rod tip up a little more. So when that fish goes and takes my fly, and I do set a little early, there's a little slack in there that allows just enough time for that fish to take the dry, and I can hook them. So keep that in mind when you're fishing dries and you're perhaps setting a little early. Of course, you can always wait, but perhaps try lifting the rod tip a little bit, maybe have a 6 inches to a foot of line off the water to allow a little bit of slack and the time for the fish to take your dries. So let's talk about my dry fly leader setup. Very simple. I start with a base tapered leader, 7.5 to 9 foot long. I add fluorocarbon tippet. I use a tag off of that combination that I combine using a triple surgeon's knot as a dropper. And then I tie my larger fly on the point as I use that as a sighter and work forward towards myself to better see the smaller dropper. My overall length is anywhere from 9 to 14 feet. I would use a 14-foot leader, calm, clear conditions. Any longer than that and your accuracy suffers. A 9 to 12-foot overall leader length is ideal. Don't set too soon. Here we go, fish on. That went well. All right, what do we got here? Oh, another fish rising. Wind's dropping. Fish come in the shallows. We've got lots of bushes around here, terrestrials, beetles, ants. Always a good thing to fish from shore when it comes to dries. And this one ate the beetle. 2 on here, got an ant on the dropper and a little beetle on the point. Nice little cut bow. Beetle right in the tip of the snout. Whoa, come here. Use both hands. Come on. Come on, it'll all be over soon. Right in the tip of the snout. Barbless hook comes out. Away she goes. So dry flies, great choice when fishing from shore. Those are a little damp after that swim, so I may have to charge them up again. You know what, I'm going to zap them up again so you can see them better. So these flies are a little saturated, so I'm just going to recharge them. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got a little Amadou pad here, natural fungus. Just press that in, it takes the moisture out of the flies, both my beetle and my ant. Just squeeze those out. And we'll take our Easy Dry here. This is a desiccant. So we drop the fly into the jar, close the lid, don't damage the leader, give it a shake. Take that out. Do the same with the other. Drop it in. Little shake. Take it out. And then dig out my floatant. Little gel floatant. Just squeeze out a little bit onto my forefinger. Not too much. Then I rub my thumb and forefinger together. My body heat melts and liquefies the floatant, and I just pat it into the fly or the portion of the fly I wish to float. So in this case, I want all of them to float, so I just pat that in. My flies are recharged and ready to go. Oh, he refused it. He refused it. Oh, I got a fish. Oh. All right, well, you've given this spot a whirl. Had a few fish come and play, but there's lots of lake shore to explore. Logan's suggesting we go give that a try, maybe something with a little more deeper water nearby. So that's what we're going to do. We can always come back and fish the spot again. As when fishing rivers and streams, moving to a different location is one of the things you can do to change or improve your stillwater success. Other changes to consider include your fly choice, presentation depth, fly line selection, or your retrieve speed. If what you're doing isn't working, begin making changes until you find something or a combination of things that catches fish. So I just want to take a moment to talk to you about the different kinds of fly lines you should think about when you're fly fishing lakes from shore. The first one is your basic floating line. If you're transferring from rivers and streams, you've already got this. You can use it to fish dries, small nymphs, things like that. You might also want to consider a floating line specifically designed with a head and taper to cast longer leaders and indicator systems. A slow sinking line, such as this hubber, would also be a good choice. This line sinks at a paltry 1 inch per second. Great for working shoreline shallows. And third, a clear intermediate. This line sinks at about 2 inches per second and is great for fishing shorelines that have deeper shoals or off deeper drop-offs. So there you have it. The fly line choices are pretty simple. Most of the time, you're going to be using some sort of floating line setup. Whenever you fish a lake, either from shore or from some type of watercraft, investing 10 to 15 minutes inspecting the shoreline can be critical to your success. Look through weeds, turn over rocks and logs, explore other shoreline features to determine what food sources might be available. What you see and discover helps guide your fly and presentation selections, helping you to consistently make the right on-the-water decisions. go, Logan. That looked like a good eat. Can't beat them when they're on top. There we go. Haha, nice head tail. That's so sweet. We're just working our way down towards the fish. The fish are cruising upwind and just sipping targets of opportunity. We've got small ants on the surface. Seen caterpillars of all things in the water, and they're just taking on top. And one of the benefits of fishing a lake from shore is there's always dry fly opportunities, it seems, because these fish cruise these flats looking for aquatic insects and of course terrestrials. It's August, terrestrials are in full swing right now. So depending on the lake you're at, you could have hoppers, ants, beetles, crickets, other terrestrial insects, all of them at once. Yeah, that's fish. Very cooperative fish. There we go. Beautiful little cutbow on the dry. Took the beetle. Dry fly fishing on still waters. It's not just for rivers and streams. So this has been a great first day, Logan. Thanks so much. Started out, we got fish under indicators on chironomids, but the day wore on. It became apparent that the fish were willing to come up to the surface and feed on dries. So that's what we spent the afternoon doing. It looks good for tomorrow because I think we might start with that right off the get-go and go with what got us here at the end. So it's time for dinner. Looking forward to day 2. After spending our first day exploring Monument Lake from shore, Logan and I were provided with the opportunity to fish from a unique platform, a large motorized pontoon boat. Before heading out, we were aware that the weather could be a factor with clouds and potential thunderstorms in the forecast. The pontoon boat provided us with a stable casting platform that allowed us to cover the lake with ease and get off the water quickly should thunder and lightning creep over the nearby mountains. From a fishing perspective, the onboard sounder also provided us with valuable information regarding potential structure to explore, as well as marking fish for us to target. Monument Lake Resort not only offers great fishing from shore, but also access to a variety of watercraft. So it's day 2. Weather's changed a bit more ripple on the surface. So the tactics we used yesterday from shore, floating lines with terrestrial patterns, not a good option. So we came out in one of the resort's pontoon boats. We're gonna fish sinking line tactics and some indicators and long leaders, see what we can dredge up. So what I'm fishing is a washing line setup. That is a buoyant fly, in this case, a tequila booby on the point, separated by about 5 feet, a 3X tippet, connected to my main leader using a tag, and I've got a little olive pitching leech off the dropper up to my sinking line. I'm using a fast sinking line, type 5, 3.5. So the line drags this down, this comes up, it shakes and wobbles on the retrieve. They either zone in on this as an attractor and find this natural fly up front, or they whack this fly aggressively. This thing wobbles and dives and just drives fish crazy. It's a great setup, a washing line whenever you're fishing lakes. go. That's a fish.
Yeah, nice,
That's
Phil.
a fish.
Good job.
Ate the booby. Where'd that land in net? Not the biggest trout yet, but ate the booby. Tequila booby. So we're fishing a washing line setup. So I've got the buoyant booby on the point and a little olive leech. And he just took that right in the tip of the snout. The fly comes out. Little aggressive cutthroat here. We'll just show him up and then we'll just release him through the net. But there we go. In the pontoon boat, working the sinking lines, prospecting the deeper water. Gorgeous little fish.
I got a double. I got 2 fish on at once. Right, I got it.
That's a nice double.
Oh, one popped off?
Bottom one came off.
Yeah, he came right off in the phone and took the fly off, I think. Yeah, took the fly.
One went one way, the other went one.
It's usually what happens in a double.
Bigger on the olive leech again. This washing line setup's working well. We've got 2 contrary colors on. We got the natural olive leech off the dropper and then the booby in a washing line configuration off the point. So the fish can be not only eat the booby, but they're attracted to that color, that exaggerated wobbly motion, and then see the more natural fly up ahead and then say, ooh, that looks even better, and take it like this nice plump rainbow has. I think it's a rainbow.
Nice cut bow.
Cut bow.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Look at that. We'll just wet our hands on the bottom of the net. He really whacked that thing. Plump little cut bow. Well, you can see the little red signature red slash. Put him in the water quickly. Like that. Phil's having fun now. On the leech again. They're liking that. Not the largest fish on the planet, but Monument Lake. This is a little stocky. Probably stocked earlier this year. Still kind of skinny. Learning how to feed.
There we go. Fish on.
Fish on.
Nice.
That was on a brisk hand twist. Slowed it down a little bit. What do we got? On the fab. Ate the fab. See that fish? He ate it on the hang. So this fish came on the hang, and what that is, at the end of every retrieve, don't be in a rush to recast. Just do a slow rod raise, and those flies change speed and direction, and often any fish following, that'll be their trigger to take it. And in this case, he ate the olive pitching leech in front of my booby. I just wet my hands on the net here. We've got a beautiful, looks like a little cutthroat maybe, or a cut bow. You can see the pitching leech right in his mouth. He ate that right at the boat. We'll just pop that fly out. Oh, there we go. Got you, you little toad. On the leech. Come here, into the net. You took it in rather. You wanted that. You know you're not going to get any bigger if you keep eating flies and lures and things like that. Well, what a great second day. We got out into the pontoon boat, something I hadn't fished out of before. The sinking line techniques worked really well. A team of a fab or a booby on the point and the olive pitching leech on the dropper was killer. It worked so well. We got music playing in the background. It's time to go get some dinner and look forward to tomorrow.
The great thing about Monument Lake Resort is there can be 2 people here, there can be 2,000 people here, and you feel like you're alone. You never bump into anyone. It's 368 acres of mountain property, and it is a piece of heaven on earth. I literally have never been any place like it. 1937, this place was built, and it's all adobe, all original, you know, 18-inch thick mud walls, and you know, with a layer of stucco on it, and just one of the most unique places I've ever been in my life. It's really the last untouched part of Colorado. It's truly a gem. I've been associated with Monument Lake Resort since 2021. Came out here really by accident, and by the grace of God, we landed, and it's a great place to be. The city of Trinidad has been an amazing partner of ours. They've helped us through all the renovations that we've done out here. They've supported us every step of the way. Trinidad itself is an amazing little town, the oldest town in Colorado, full of history. This whole valley is full of history. We're on the Highway of Legends, Highway 12. It's a national scenic byway. It's the Highway of Legends because there's a lot of legends out here. You know, City of Trinidad, they've been the best partner I could have ever expected or anticipated in our endeavor out here. Our built to serve model is really just a way of life. It's the way I live my life, it's the way my wife lives her life, and the way we've raised our children. We love to serve people. We love to put smiles on people's faces, and no better place in the world than here at Monument Lake to do that. The accommodation options here at Monument Lake Resort, we've got 20 lodge rooms, 13 cabins, got about 100 primitive camping sites and RV sites. Got 14 full hookup sites and 25 partial hookup sites here on the property. The fishing here at Monument Lake Resort is phenomenal. It's the CPW brings us out about anywhere from 38 to 50,000 browns and rainbows a year, just year after year. Close to 30,000 people come through here in a 4-month period, and they catch a lot of fish out here. The different species of fish we have: browns, rainbows, cutbows. Got some tigers out there. It's got a great habitat for fish out here and a great variety. Caveman Music Festival came about in 2022. Met a couple guys that I had come play out here, Red Shahan and Parker Morrow. They're some Texas artists. We bumped into each other, became instant friends, and right down the stairs overlooking the lake, we sat there and made a plan to start a music festival out here, and that was in 2021. Well, the reason why it's called Caveman Music Festival is we've got a cave on the property at the top of the ridge. And in that cave, there's a footprint embedded in the rock. And nobody knows how old it is, but it's very old. And that's kind of how we came up with the name Caveman Music Festival. Caveman Music Festival is Labor Day weekend every year. It's a 3-day festival. We have about anywhere 23 to 25 bands come through. Some of the best bands in the country come through here and play. We've had Zach Bryan, Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Red Clay Strays, Steve Earle, just to name a few. 3-day festival, amazing time. Capacity of it is up to 5,000. You know, we're in that 2,000 to 4,000 right now, and it's growing, and it's just an amazing time. So to book a reservation at Monument Lake Resort, go online, www.themonumentlakeresort.com, or call us 719-680-0580. We look forward to having you out to Monument Lake Resort. It's truly something that everyone should experience at least 10 or 15 times in their life.
That fish is just cruising around the lake.
Bit of a later start today. As you can see behind me, storm clouds have been rolling through. We've had showers, thunderstorms. Just wasn't wise to be out there. But now the skies have parted. We've got bright blue skies. Gonna see what we can catch.
How was that retrieve, Phil?
I was just letting it hang.
Ah. Encouraging.
For our third day on Monument Lake, we decided to prospect the deeper shoreline areas. As we would be fishing adjacent to steeper banks, which would impact our backcasts, we decided to use strike indicator tactics coupled with balanced leeches. This setup allowed us to use roll cast to present our flies with little risk of hitting the shoreline rocks and trees. So Logan and I are going to try fishing a little deeper structure, drop-offs close to a steep-sided bank. We don't have a lot of back cast room because of the angle of the bank. We're going to try and target the fish cruising along the drop-off close to shore using strike indicators and suspending leeches 10, 12, maybe even 14 feet down to target those fish cruising along the edges. Fish on! Oh, nice plump little cut bow.
Like the net, Phil?
Sure, that'd be great. We can show everybody that's a larger fish. Whoa, whoa! He's got around it. He's dancing. Must like the music.
Kind of hard to see.
Yeah, the glare is just fat. Took that olive pitching leech. Started 10 feet down. Wasn't getting anything. Dropped it to 12. And I missed one, and then I finally managed to connect. And he took this down firmly, so see if we can just settle him down. But beautiful little cut bow. Let him go. Reset the indicator. Go do it again. You wonder how many fish are cruising down there.
You know, I'm betting quite a few.
You'd just be curious to see what they're doing out there in 12 feet of water.
Yep.
There we go, fish on.
Nice.
Whoa.
He's fighting, huh?
All right. Bring him to the net. Not the biggest, whoa, little hole there. Water skim in, have Logan land him for me. Thank you, sir. Again, just this indicator technique is a great way to fish a steep shoreline because you make minimal casts, or you can roll cast without the risk of, whoa, it goes, without the risk of hitting the structure behind you. And we can work off the drop off as we are here, and it's producing well. Let's go do that again.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for the net.
Very welcome.
Fly we've been using today under the indicator is a pitching leech. It's a great cast and retrieve fly because of the teardrop tungsten bead used on this fly makes it pitch and undulate. But you can also fish it balanced horizontally under an indicator by using a clinch knot. So right now it's hanging kind of vertically, not the way a natural leech goes through the water. But if I take the fly in my hand and I pull the leader back towards the hook bend, this fly will be encouraged to hang horizontally and suspend just like a natural leech. So this fly is very versatile, not only for cast and retrieve techniques, but for suspending under an indicator.
I've been fishing in Colorado since 2018. I started back when my father actually bought some property just down the road from here from Monument Lake Resort. And that's when I started actually fishing here at Monument Lake. So I've been fishing that long. I grew up fishing down in South Florida. That's where I was born and raised for my first 27 years. And I actually did commercial sword fishing and tournament sail fishing and inshore reef fishing as well for tournaments. So I have a background in fishing. Within the area, just about 2 miles up the road, there's North Lake, which is another great lake to fish from shore. It has about the same diversity of fish that we have here, which is great. So you can get your slam all in one day here, both at North Lake and at Monument. The best time to catch fish here at Monument Lake and at North Lake is probably right after we open up in March, and then also in June is a great time. July can get a little bit warm, but you know, the terrestrials start to come out then, and that can also be a fun time of year. You know, if all the stars line up and the bugs are out, it can be really, really great. Later in the year, as we get closer to September and things start to cool off, the brown trout start to come into their spawning habits, and the fish start to rise for midges, and they're still seeing calibatus, and the terrestrials are still around, but they're rising more. The cold is coming, and they know that, so they have to feed. Here at the end of our season at Monument Lake Resort, right about Labor Day weekend every year, we have our Caveman Music Festival, which is really great. 3 days of fly fishing, good times, hanging out with buddies. You can raft, you can paddleboard, you can rent boats, you can stay here, you can camp, you can hike, you can bike. You can do it all here at Monument Lake Resort, and at Caveman Music Festival, it just kind of rounds out the year with a really great time. Monument Lake and the surrounding area, including North Lake and Bear Lake up the road, the entire area is just gorgeous. It's one of Colorado's hidden gems. It's one of the untapped places that nobody has really seen. When you mention it to people, you know, in the cities, whether it's in Springs area or Denver metro area, they don't know it, and they need to come and see it because it's really something special. There's no place quite like it. We have everything here. We have 13 lodge rooms. We have 20 cabin rooms to put you up. We also have primitive and full hookup RV sites. So we can accommodate you however you want to do it. If you want to bring your RV or just set up your tent or get one of our lodge rooms, we have it here for you. We have a full service restaurant. We have our fly shop outfitted with Orvis reels and all Orvis gear. We have everything you need here at Monument Lake.
Well, we did have a bit of a bright spot, but now it looks like that storm is circling around again to come in. We've heard some rumbling in the distance. Probably a good time to go get some dinner, but it's been a great afternoon using indicator techniques off these steep banks to hook fish cruising along these edges in deeper water.
For those of you who value time spent outdoors, investing in reliable tools is essential to making the most of your experience in nature. A durable, affordable, and timeless wristwatch is the perfect companion for any angler. And that's exactly what Vair watches are built for. Assembled in America and backed by a guaranteed waterproof warranty, Vair watches offer the ideal balance of affordability and performance. Stay on time and focus on the moments that matter most.
For our final day of fishing, Logan suggested we visit nearby North Lake, located a short distance up the road from Monument Lake. So Logan, Monument Lake isn't the only fishing opportunity around here, is it?
That's right, Phil. Today we're up here at North Lake, only about a mile up the road from Monument Lake, where we were staying at the last couple of days. So we're going to come in here and kind of poke around with some of the same techniques and see if we can find a couple of kokanee. There's some good tigers, good browns, and a couple of splake swimming around as well. We might get lucky.
Sounds good. Let's go. There we go. Fish on. On the leech, hand twist. Little guy. Come here, you slippery little guy. Little cut bow.
Cut bow?
There he goes. Gone. Right there. On the dry?
On the dry.
Seeing calabatus around you, Logan?
Not really.
They were inshore, real tiny. So we're on the shores of North Lake. The wind comes and goes. It's gusting a bit right now, but when it goes calm, these fish come up on the surface and they look to be taking not only adults, we've seen some calabatus adults around, but also the emergers and some midges. So we're going to start with some dries. I'm going to fish a washing line with a terrestrial ant pattern on the point and a little small beadhead chironomid pupa off a dropper to see if I can take advantage of both those fish that want to feed on the surface and those fish that are feeding on the emerging pupa and nymphs.
Holy crap, it was right there. I've got two on. I got one on the dry and one on the chironomid.
You got a double?
I got a double. Or I had a double. Do I still have a double? Yes, I do. So I got a fish. Go right in tank to the bank. So I've got my bionic end on the point. We'll release this one first. Got the chironomid right in his snout. I don't see the other one swimming around, but yeah, he's between my legs. I can feel him. So there's one. And then up here is, on the ant, number 2. Oh! So as you can see, the washing line, buoyant fly on the point, a little nymph or pupa up in the surface film where they're feeding, works pretty good sometimes. Ate the ant, just come up and sipped it. Nice little fish. Oh.
Today, Logan's partner Melissa joined us on North Lake. She also experienced some great dry fly action.
So it looks pretty. Can you get him, hon?
Go.
He was fully committed to that fly. Pretty fish. Nice rainbow on him. All lit up.
So we've had a great day here on North Lake. We fished the one spot. There was fish everywhere. When the wind dropped, they were up on the surface, taking adults and taking emergers. The washing line technique for me worked really well with an ant or a hopper on the point. I just had another take. Sorry, Brett. Sadly, my time at Monument Lake Resort has come to an end. It's time to go home. I can't thank Brett and Lori McGraw enough for the hospitality they and their staff have shown me. It's been an incredible experience. The shoreline fishing was outstanding, both here on Monument Lake and just up the road on North Lake. Everything we tried worked. Hopefully you can utilize these tactics as well if you ever come to Monument Lake Resort or on your local waters. For more information on this show and others in our series, please visit us on the web at thenewflyfisher.com, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll see you next time.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Monument Lake Resort, Vair Watches, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited,